One lady even said, "Woohoo, I don't need to do Kegels." This was her big takeaway. And so many of you were the same. That's right, you absolutely don't have to do Kegels. And for many that have fed back in the community, and of course there's hundreds of you in there, thousands actually, and what you've stated is that you actually experienced doing Kegels and your prolapse getting worse. This is not unusual. This is in this section around recurring stories because it is a recurring story. It's the theme that I hear over and over again. It was the big aha moment for myself when I started to do those traditional strength-based exercises and almost immediately felt my prolapse more. Welcome to Hope for Your Pelvic Floor, the podcast where honest conversation meets real evidence-based solutions for your pelvic health. I'm Claire Sparrow, second generation Pilates teacher, educator and best-selling author. I'm here to help you understand your body better, move with confidence and finally get answers that make sense. Each week we'll bust myths, share insights from movement science and pelvic health research and give you practical steps you can actually use in your everyday life. Because pelvic health isn't just about exercises. It's about reconnecting with yourself, one breath, one choice, and one movement at a time. Let's get started. Welcome to this week's episode. We are going to have an entire episode today dedicated to Prolapse Awareness Month. And in June, I shared lots of episodes around all things prolapse. And I also ran a free challenge, if you like, a free month of Pilates for prolapse and educating around why the traditional approaches to prolapse and the exercises that we're given, why they really don't work and in many cases actually do make symptoms worse. So we wrapped that month up. It was absolutely staggering how many hundreds of women, over 300 women, joined me in this month of prolapse awareness and getting educated. And that's what I want to kind of reflect on a little bit in today's episode. Usually I start with a Claire shares, and today I'm actually just diving in. The whole episode is really a Claire shares episode, reflecting on not just my kind of thoughts and observations of the month of prolapse awareness, but also what women have shared and how it's impacted them being part of this community and being part of the change and doing something different for their pelvic health. So in June every year, I weirdly celebrate because it's Prolapse Awareness Month. It is a month where I can spend the entire time waxing lyrical, sharing everything that I think. It's sharing all of the things I wish that I had known. And much of what I do is simply being the voice of hope and being the voice that I wish that I had. Whether I'm working with pregnant women who are in that journey towards giving birth and sharing with them the tools, the simple exercises, the mindset, the breathing techniques to help them to really be in charge of their birth experience. And it's not that you can control how it goes, but you can control how you respond to whatever happens and know that you're informed in the decisions that you make in that birth experience. And those are simple things, really simple things that I wish I had known. Maybe that's a separate episode, but everything that I do is really speaking and being the person that I wish I'd had at these different stages of life. So we're going to go into a few different aspects of Prolapse Awareness Month. And the first thing I wanted to do was really share with you a little comment that somebody made in our group, and it was opened up a whole world of hope. And honestly, that is what this is about. I can't fix your prolapse for you. I can't do the exercises for you. I can't, be at your house reminding you to do the things. But I can be the voice of hope. I can give you the hope and the information and the education that allows you to then take the steps forwards. And I think that's key, having the hope first, knowing that there is something that can be done makes the world of difference. Because most women, certainly that I've worked with, and probably those of you listening, you've either tried something else and it's just not worked, or you think it's something that you have to accept. And my goal is that you know that you don't have to accept that. So for this lovely member of the challenge to share that it opened up a whole world of hope was just really, really fantastic. So the first thing that I wanted to then go into is around the key themes, the themes that seem to recur throughout, the stories that recur not just throughout this month, but for the years that I've been supporting women with prolapse. And one of the big things is just being told or believing that you have to accept it, ignore it, feel like it's something that you just have because you're a woman, or because you've gone through menopause, or because you've had children. And it's not something that we have to accept or ignore. And also with those women, I think it's really important to say that we're not just talking about women with prolapse who've had children. Many women who actually struggle most to get a diagnosis is those women who haven't had children. They're either misdiagnosed with, IBS in many, many cases and other conditions because it's assumed that prolapse is a child, a birth-related injury or condition, and it truly isn't. I work with as many women that haven't had children as I do with women who have got prolapse. So this idea is just such a misconception that we need to put to bed, really. And one of the things that people have come round to realize through being in this month-long challenge is that being in the group together, hearing other women's stories, that's been enough to know that they are not alone, that it isn't in their head, that it isn't something that they have to accept or ignore. And that's huge. That aspect of community is really, really important. I think women are just awesome. We're all so awesome. And when we get together around this shared topic, the support that women give each other is I just sit back. We had our Pelvic Health Cafe last week, and I just kind of sit back and let the women in the group that come together just share what worked for them. We had a question in our Facebook group recently around how to fit in their pelvic health practice, and everybody came to the rescue with all manner of brilliant ideas. And it's phenomenal how much we can really support each other just by not necessarily having answers, just by showing up for each other, just saying, yeah, me too. That's something I've experienced. I feel the same way. That is so reassuring to hear from other women. And then we've also had some women also sharing how much confidence they've gained to keep going. It's given them energy to keep going, to keep asking for more from their pelvic floor. And that comes up every time we do any kind of challenge together, whether sometimes we do something in March called March Madness, where we look at how Pilates can be adapted for pelvic health, and we obviously have Prolapse Awareness Month. When we come together in these challenges, it again unites and builds that confidence and energy to carry on. And we need that. We need that ongoing rallying that we bring together. And one of the other offshoots of that was a recurring theme was that listening to other perspectives, and particularly my voice of hope, a lot of people have said, listening to the nature of prolapse awareness, where we're not just doing exercises. I'm teaching you about your anatomy and how you are designed to work and why things maybe aren't working the way that you want them to. And that, hearing that perspective, that's come through all the way through this month, that hearing that information from me has made so much sense, and then it's built more confidence with going and following an alternative route. One of the big things, and this I found very interesting because I could see we're having a lot more international members in our community and in our challenges, and it's internationally relevant that women are feeling really failed by their system. It's not just in the UK, it really is worldwide that women are being failed by the provision, by the exercises that they're being told to do, by whoever they have gone to with their worries, with their fears, with their problems, not necessarily really giving them confidence that they're really feeling something that's correct, or that they could do something about it. They're feeling brushed off or not really taken seriously. And hearing that from so many women right across the board, no matter where you are in the world, it's just so deeply sad. And it makes me more driven in our membership and in the free Facebook community to get us all together, and in the Pelvic Health Cafe as well, to get together and be the cheerleaders for each other, so that we build that confidence, like I said before, so that we can go and ask for more, so we can push and ask for more for our pelvic floor. That's, that feeling failed it's very disappointing. It's very challenging, but I also believe that it's a turning point. Because you feel failed, you're still already looking for more. You're looking for hope, and you're in the right place, of course. And then just a couple more things that I feel are important recurring stories is this idea of progression. We want to do whole body pelvic health so that we can improve the symptoms of our prolapse, that we can restore our prolapsed organ, or whatever your particular goal is. Maybe it's prolonging, maybe you have a prolapse that's you've got multiple prolapse that's maybe quite severe, and perhaps surgery is on the card somewhere for you, and that has to happen, but you want to put that off for as long as is possible. We can do that. We can push that so far forwards into the future. And in loads and loads of cases, the majority of cases, in fact, we've actually just prevented prolapse, surgery for prolapse altogether. So whatever your particular goal is, what's come up is that the progress towards that particular goal is not it's not a straight line. It's not linear progress. And I wanted to highlight this particularly because I, for one, would really like to know that I do this thing, I do my exercises every day, and then it's fine. And I'm never going to have to think about it again, and it's just done and dusted. I can ignore it and get back to normal life. The reality is that you have to look after your pelvic floor for life, whether you have a prolapse or not. And just in the same way, always use the same boring analogy, but it's true. We look after our teeth every day. Why wouldn't we do the same thing for our pelvic floor? When it comes to prolapse, you might go on holiday and have a funny tummy. I mean, hands up, who's been on holiday and eaten something that's given them a funny tummy, and that can severely impact your prolapse? You aggravate the symptoms of your prolapse. That's a short-term thing. You have the exercises to then help to restore your prolapse and improve those symptoms again. It's a little blip. Maybe you have a period of stress. I have a lot of women that I work with that are caregivers. You know, there's a lot of us in that kind of sandwich generation where we're looking after kids, grandkids, and we're looking after our parents. We're in that sort of strange time where there might be a lot of physical stress or emotional and mental stress or both. And that can have an impact on your prolapse. And you might feel like, oh, I've aggravated my symptoms. Well, you've just hit a bump in the road or you've taken a detour, but you're still heading towards that goal. You still have the tools at your disposal to really help yourself on an ongoing basis. Wouldn't it be wonderful? I could say, okay, it's going to take you 6 months and whatever kind of prolapse you've got, it's going to be restored in 6 months and you'll never have to think about it again. Unfortunately, that's not the reality. We're going to look after it forever. You've got the tools, simple tools to look after yourself. And then the last kind of piece, I mean, it would be rude if I didn't mention the recurring theme and story about Kegels. One lady even said, woohoo, I don't need to do Kegels. This was her big takeaway. And so many of you were the same. That's right, you absolutely don't have to do Kegels. And for many that have fed back in the community, and of course there's hundreds of you in there, thousands actually, and what you've stated is that you actually experienced doing Kegels and your prolapse getting worse. This is not unusual. This is in this section around recurring stories because it is a recurring story. It's the theme that I hear over and over again. It was the big aha moment for myself when I started to do those traditional strength-based exercises and almost immediately felt my prolapse more. I almost immediately could feel worsening of my symptoms. And it just started to dawn on me that really it didn't make sense to squeeze that because, you know, like it's just so illogical. If you squeeze a tube of toothpaste, you're going to squeeze the toothpaste out. So why would you squeeze your organ out? Like it's just so illogical. And of course, you now know I created Whole Body Pelvic Health and the rest is history. And of course, Hope for Your Pelvic Floor in the book, we go through this all in detail and why it doesn't work. But you know, recognizing that Kegels don't work and that they make things worse is so important, and it's been a big recurring theme throughout Prolapse Awareness Month. And of course, just realizing that there's hope, like we said at the beginning. Remember, there is hope. Yes, Kegels don't work, but there is hope. There is hope for your pelvic floor, and that's what we're doing all the time. So let's move on to the next steps. We've done this whole entire month together. We've dedicated to our pelvic health. We're recognizing there is another way and there is something that I can do, and I could get back to doing those activities that I enjoyed before the prolapse diagnosis. What's so important now is to maintain momentum. And this is what I've spoken to into our community in the Facebook group, that absolutely now, this is just the beginning. 1 month is not going to be enough for your pelvic floor. It really is just the beginning. And this is where you can continue doing the Prolapse Awareness Month classes, staying inside of that Facebook community and sharing your progress, inviting a conversation, asking for help from others, setting a reminder to do those little short classes 3 times a week. It doesn't take, you could do 5 minutes a day, or you could do 7 minutes 3 times a week. You could do 30 minutes 3 times a week. It doesn't have to look the same for everyone. It's about finding the way in for you and knowing that whatever you do consistently is going to work. And I think as I say that, I think actually that's hugely important, is the consistently. Doing it regularly. It isn't a one-hit wonder. You have to do it regularly. And it matters more that you do it regularly than for how long. Okay, so just really thinking about that. One of the other things that I would suggest is getting together with other women. You know, if over 50% of women have pelvic organ prolapse, come on now. Your group, you know, the WhatsApp group from the school mums, or, you know, your coffee morning group at the church, whoever it is, those groups of women, at least half of you have got prolapse symptoms and or incontinence. So it's a great opportunity to have that conversation and build the freedom around having that conversation, because by you sharing, it opens up the opportunity for others to share. And of course, like I said before, crack on, get into the Facebook community and be in there, because it's building your confidence and those in the group as well. Oh my gosh. I mean, I could really go on and on. I think I need to wrap it up really, but Prolapse Awareness Month, I'm weirdly a bit sad that it's over. I'm excited about what's coming next. I'm excited about what you are all doing to restore your prolapse, what you're all doing to take charge of your pelvic floor. And each time you share with me, it gives me more inspiration to keep going. It gives me more great topics to talk about here on the podcast. So I'd love to hear your ideas and things you'd like me to cover on the podcast, because I'm only here for you. I'm talking alone in a room to the microphone because I want to help you. So I am really happy when you tell me what you would like me to talk to you about. I have a few episodes coming up talking about the relationship of feet to your pelvic floor and what you can do to support your pelvic floor doing simple foot exercises. I'm going to talk about the importance of variety and not just doing the same 3 exercises all the time, and the importance of variety. So that's coming soon too. So before we wrap up, I just want to say, you know, take advantage of everything that I put out there for free so that you can keep going, whether it's prolapse or incontinence, whatever's going on for you. There is a resource, a free resource out there for you. Talk about it more, because as I said before, problem shared, you know that old adage, problem shared is a problem halved. It really does help you to feel that hope that is there for you and for others. And then you can also go ahead and join our membership. We'll drop a link to join the membership below. I'd love to see you in there and see just how much progress you can make, how you can take charge of your life again by being in that membership. So we can share the link to that below. Thank you so much as always. I appreciate you giving your time to yourself and your pelvic health and listening to me wherever you are listening, on your school run, dog walk, in the car, on the way to work, wherever you are. I appreciate you and your pelvic floor appreciates you. So thank you for tuning in to Hope for Your Pelvic Floor. And if this episode, of course, if it resonates with you, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who needs it. It really helps more women find the support they deserve. You can ask for more from your pelvic floor, and I'll be here along the way, your voice of hope. And I'll see you in our next episode.